Looking back, I realize I should have known how this would turn out. I met Monica when I went to King Soopers to buy groceries for dinner. It was Sunday, and as I was walking from the parking lot to the store, I noticed a woman pushing a shopping cart. She was wearing skinny jeans and high heels, and I have no idea why, but a woman who wore high heels with jeans caught my attention. I hurried to grab the cart and followed her into the store. I noticed she had filled out her Levi's pretty well, and I was so busy looking at her ass and sexy legs in heels that I almost collided with her with my cart. I stopped in time and looked up to see that she had a tattoo that covered her entire back. Or at least, that's what I thought. Her top covered most of her, but I could see her just above the neckline of her top, and I could see some of her coming out of the armholes on either side. "Sorry," I said, "but I have a question for you." She turned to face me, and I saw that her face was as sexy as the rest of her body. "And what question?" she asked. "How much will it cost me to persuade you to take off your top so I can see the whole tattoo?" She laughed and looked around. "Here? In the shop? In front of God and everyone else? I think I could do it for $1,000. She saw the expression on my face and said, "What? Do you think I'm not worth $1,000? I'm sure you're worth much more, but it's not affordable." "And what is your price range?" "I won't insult you by talking about this." "Oh no, don't insult me. You started it yourself. How much do you want to pay?" "Honestly, I do not know. I didn't expect to have this conversation. I thought you would say something like, 'You don't have enough, and you will never have enough.'" "What if I said that I agree with everything you have? What would I get?" $53 and some change. "Never. Not here in the store. Not for such a small thing." She started to walk away. I smiled guiltily and shrugged. "You're pretty cute," she said, and then continued. $53, right? Not here in the store, not for $53, but call me in about an hour." And she took a business card out of her purse and handed it to me. "Maybe we can work something out. Use your mobile number." And then she pushed her cart towards the deli counter. I watched her walk away, my head throbbing as I watched her ass move in those tight jeans. I looked at the card and saw that her name was Monica Ensign and that she worked for a real estate company. There were 2 telephone numbers, one of them a cell phone, a fax number, and an email address. I put the card in my shirt pocket, intending to call Monica Ensign. I didn't have a checkbook with me, and as Monica walked away, I decided not to spend my $53 on groceries. I left my empty cart in the produce section and headed home. I took a shower, put on clean clothes, and looked at the clock. It's been an hour and 5 minutes since Monica Ensign gave me her card. I took my phone out of the charger and made a call. "Hello? I didn't tell you my name, but I'm the guy who really wanted to see your tattoo, and by the way, my name is Rob. I am surprised. I really didn't expect you to call. I thought you were just testing me. You give your phone number to any guy who you think is just pranking you?" "No, but I said you're pretty cute. What did you expect to get from this call?" "I have no idea, but you told me to call you in an hour, so I was hoping you had something in mind." "Yes. I was curious to know if you would actually pay me to see my tattoo." "Still would." "Okay, but it will cost you money." "How many?" $53. "And you should invite me to dinner." "I can do it." "When?" "Now is the right time. Do you know where Castleview Apartments are?" "I know. I'm in apartment 15, in building E. How long can I wait for you?" "After a minute. Maybe in a minute and a half." "A minute? Where are you now?" "Apartment 22 in building B. I made it in about 15 minutes." She answered the door wearing the same jeans and heels, but she was wearing a different top and it didn't show her tattoo. "Just let me grab my purse and I'm ready to go." On the way to my truck, she asked where I would take her and I told her it was her choice. She chose Angelina's, and there, over veal scallopini and linguine with clam sauce, we exchanged vital statistics. 24-year-old single mother, daughter with grandparents on weekends, office manager for a real estate firm, avid bowler, 2 mixed and 1 women's domestic league, with an average of 176. She loved classical music, read on average 2 books a week. Currently, 9 books are borrowed from the library, and loved to cook. For my part, she learned that I was a single 26-year-old logistics manager for a national trucking company who also played bowls, but only in one men's house league, and had a batting average, embarrassing to admit after she said mine, of 155. My music is country western. I rarely read, never watch TV, and restored cars in my free time. My current project was a 1993 Mustang convertible. The last fact interested her. She also drove a Mustang convertible, a 1997. Black with a black top? Yes. I saw him in the parking lot and I was wondering who he was. It belonged to my husband and I got it by default when his stupid ass was killed. Unhappy marriage? Everything was fine until I became pregnant with Melanie. He did not want children, and explained this very convincingly even before the wedding. When my birth control pills failed me, he said he wasn't going to bother himself with a child and left. He joined the army and, like a fool, allowed the recruiter to talk him into joining the airborne forces. I never got the full story, but on his 3rd training jump, something went wrong with his main chute, and he either panicked and forgot he had a reserve chute, or something went wrong with that too. Doesn't matter. It was a closed casket funeral. What's your story? 26 years old and not married? 26 years old and a widower. Some similarities with your story. I wanted children, but she didn't. After 2 years of constant urging, unsuccessfully, to get a vasectomy so she could go off the pill, she upped and left me. She told me to fuck off and die and left the house. She was so mad at me that she didn't pay attention, ran a red light and got hit by a beer truck. And a closed coffin funeral. Why didn't you give her what she wanted? Because I wanted children. I didn't know that a vasectomy could be reversed and thought that if she could ever change her mind, I needed to be functional. The irony of the situation is that it didn't matter because it turned out that I was infertile and would not have been able to father a child anyway. How did you find out? Sad story, but the short version is this. The girl I was dating said that she was pregnant and that I was the father. I knew she wasn't in an exclusive relationship with me, and I didn't believe her. I told her that if the DNA test shows that I am the father, then I will marry her. Otherwise not. The test showed that I am not the father. 3 months later, at a party, I was having drinks with an ex-girlfriend who asked where Sally was, and I told her the story. She said she could tell me I wasn't the father without even bothering to do a DNA test. I asked her how she could say that. She told me she never took the pill, and we did it dozens of times when she was at her most fertile, and I never got her pregnant, so it probably wasn't possible. Since I really wanted children, I decided it would be better to test everything, and then I discovered that I couldn't do it. If I want children, I will have to marry a woman who already has them. When we arrived at her house, she invited me in, sat me down on the sofa, and offered me a beer. When she brought it to me, she handed it to me and said, "That's $53, please." And she stood there, holding out her hand until I took the money out of my pocket and handed it to her. She went to her purse and put the money in it, and then came back and stood in front of me. She took off her top and slowly turned around in front of me. "What do you think? Was it worth paying?" "No, you are deceiving me." "Am I lying? How am I cheating?" "I paid to see the whole tattoo, and your bra covers part of it." "Oh no, you won't deceive me. You paid for me to take my top off. You didn't say a word about a bra." My exact words in the store were, "How much will it cost me to make you take off your top so I can see the whole tattoo?" The intention was to see the entire tattoo. Earlier on the phone, you told me $53 to see this tattoo, and there was no mention of only removing the top part. You told me you wanted to know if I would pay to see the tattoo. The agreement was that I would see the entire tattoo. Then, it's okay. I think we'll have to compromise. I'll take off my bra, but you'll have to take off your pants and panties. Why? Because you want to see my tattoo, and I want to see what you waved at me from your pants on Saturday. It was not difficult, and I began to unbuckle my belt. As I pulled the zipper down, Monica unclasped her bra and shook it off. Her bra fell to the floor at the same time as my pants and boxers. Monica managed to get a good look at everything. Monica slowly turned around in front of me and I saw the entire tattoo, as well as what the bra was covering. Monica's breasts were fantastic. I wasn't much of an expert on breasts, but I guessed they were size 36. They were cone-shaped and stuck straight out of her chest like the nose cones of rockets. "Well?" Monica asked. "What do you think?" "They are fantastic." This is just one tattoo." "What tattoo?" "I'm talking about your breasts. She is gorgeous." "You are a cheater. You never wanted to see my tattoo. It was my chest the whole time." "No, it is not true. Your tops, both the one you wore to the store and the one you wore tonight, were loose, and I couldn't even tell what kind of breasts you had." She looked down at me and said, "You probably like them if they have that effect on you." She knelt down in front of me. After about a minute, she stood up and, leaving her stilettos on, took off her jeans, and as she came out of them, she told me to hurry up and take off the rest of my clothes. I quickly complied, and then she led me to her bedroom. I lay there trying to catch my breath. Incredible woman. I saw a lot of her tattoos, mostly geographical markers like honeypot or gate to heaven, but I won't talk about their location. We went 4 rounds before I got out of bed and walked into the living room to get his clothes, when Monica said, "Where did you go?" "I'm done, baby. I have nothing more to give. Get your ass back. You can't do what you did to me and then leave without giving me some cuddle time. Then you need to set the clock to 6. Tomorrow is my work day." "Me too, and the clock is ready at 5:45. I climbed back onto her bed, she snuggled up to me, and within minutes, I was in dreamland. The clock struck, and I woke up to Monica clinging to me. When I moved, her eyes opened and she said, "Good morning, lover. Time for a quick wake-up call?" "Not if I'm going to get to work on time, and my boss is a stickler for punctuality." "I don't think I like him," she said, getting out of bed. When I was dressed and ready to leave, Monica walked me to the door, kissed me, and then said, "I'll pay you $53 to come back tonight." Was I going to say no? That evening, she answered the doorbell naked and with money in her hand. The evening repeated the previous one, and in the morning, getting ready to leave, I said, "I'll give you $53 if I can come back this evening." I was not surprised when she replied that she agreed to the deal. Over the next 3 days, money passed back and forth between us until Saturday. "Sorry, lover, but Melanie is coming home tomorrow afternoon, so I'll have to start acting like a mommy again." "Mommies can date, right?" "Yes." "Then use $53 to pay for the babysitter." "What kind of evening is suitable for you?" "I can do it on Tuesday." This is a date. On Tuesday evening, I met 6-year-old Melanie and she stole my heart. Monica introduced us. I extended my hand and said, "Nice to meet you, Miss Melanie." She took my hand and, shaking it, said, "You're good. Are you my mommy's friend?" "Mommies need friends." I smiled and said, "I'm trying really hard to be your mommy's best friend." "I like you. Do you like him too, mommy?" "I like him, honey." Just then, the nanny showed up, and after a few final instructions regarding Melanie, Monica and I headed out to dinner. Leaving her apartment, I asked, "Where?" expecting her to name the restaurant, and she giggled and said, "To Building B." "I haven't gone shopping yet, and there isn't much food there." "It will be when we get there." I can be a little slow sometimes, but I understood what she said pretty quickly. When we got to my apartment, she started undressing before the door was completely closed behind us, and since our apartments had the same layout, she immediately knew where the bedroom was and headed there. She was lying on the bed and waiting for me to take off the last of my clothes. "Dinner is waiting," she said as I climbed onto the bed, and I pounced on her like water in the desert. "I don't know what you think of me, lover, but I'm actually not as easy as you think, judging by how things went. I admit that I was like that once. I was once so easy that I am ashamed of myself when I remember those days. Those were the days when I got the honeypot and heaven tattoos. I rode with bikers for a while, and that's when I got a big tattoo on my back. I don't know how I would have ended my life if I hadn't met Dan and married him. When I said yes, all my wildness seemed to disappear. You may not believe it, but before you, I hadn't had a man for almost a year. I don't know what it is about you, but that day, I could barely control myself next to you in the store. I was afraid, really afraid, that you wouldn't call when I gave you my phone number. Love at first sight? Honestly, I don't know, but something made me give you my business card that day. There's something special about you, and I'm not the only one who feels it. Melanie has never behaved towards a man the way she behaved towards you today. I walked her home and kissed her goodnight and asked when I would see her again, and she said Thursday if I could. I'm damn sure I can. On Thursday, she was waiting outside my apartment when I returned home from work. I asked her to give me a minute to wash myself and then we could go somewhere. But she said she didn't want to go anywhere except my bedroom. I told her that I wanted more from our relationship than just sex. And she said that there would be plenty of time for that later. But at the moment, she needed to make up for almost a year of no sex. I never wanted to put myself in the position of being against sex. So we went to the bedroom. When she was about to leave, I asked, "Can we have a Saturday date? You, Melanie, and me? Maybe we should go to the zoo or something?" Monica looked at me as if I had two heads and then said, "Are you serious?" "Of course seriously, and why are you even asking about this? Every other guy I dated acted like Melanie was something dirty on their shoes that needed to be brushed off. Many of them didn't even ask for a second date. It was like my child was like a disease they were afraid of catching. So your desire to include Melanie in your life came as a bit of a shock to me. Not all guys are empty-headed assholes. You finally got lucky and found someone who is different." I walked her home, kissed her goodnight, and told her that I would come pick them up on Saturday at 10. On Friday after work, I went to a gas station that was not working, which I rented. There were 2 bays with lifts and a working air compressor, and that's where I worked on the cars I restored. The Mustang, which was my current project, was almost ready to be painted, and I was hoping to be able to do it within the next week. Then I had to decide whether to keep it or sell it. This was a problem I had with all my projects. When I finished them, I always wanted to keep them. Fortunately, I have always managed, sometimes with difficulty, to part with them. Besides, I needed to start looking for my next project. While I was working on 93, I was thinking about what was going on between me and Monica. It was obvious that I liked her, and not just for sex, and she seemed to enjoy her time with me. But would it last? I found myself hoping so, but what does she think? When I was done, I closed the toolbox, made sure the compressor was off, set the alarm, locked the door, and went home. As I fell asleep, I was still thinking about Monica and myself. At 9 in the morning, Monica called me. "I have to cancel the meeting today. The water pump on my car is leaking, and I need to take care of it today." No need. You won't need your car today because I'll be driving. Tomorrow I will replace your water pump. I can't ask you to do this. You didn't ask me, I volunteered myself. You know what I mean. You told Melanie about the zoo, didn't you? Well, yes. Are you going to disappoint her when you really shouldn't? No, you are right. You cannot do it this way. We had a great day at the zoo. Melanie held my hand everywhere we went, and I did everything she wanted. Food to feed the animals? I brought it to her. Did she want a hot dog? She got it. Her legs were tired and she wanted me to carry her. She climbed onto my shoulders, and all this time, Monica looked and shook her head in surprise. When it was time to leave, I asked Monica where she wanted to go for dinner, but before she could say a word, Melanie asked, "Can we go to Mickey D's? Can I buy a Happy Meal?" Guess once where we ate. When I brought them home, Monica invited me into the house and offered me a beer. I sat down on the sofa, and before I could get comfortable, Melanie climbed onto my lap. Monica came back with a beer and told Melanie to get off me. "You can't just pester Rob whenever you want. He's my friend, Mommy. I like him." I don't mind Monica. She is happy where she is. Maybe I'm against it. After all, she takes my place. I think I need to buy bigger knees. When it was time for Melanie to go to bed, she asked me if I would read to her. I looked at Monica and she said, On her night table, there is a book of fairy tales. It doesn't matter which one you choose. She's heard them all more than once and never gets tired of listening to them. After Melanie fell asleep, I went out and joined Monica in the living room. We sat on the couch and hugged until my hands began to search for parts of her body, and then she pushed me away. Sorry, darling, but not here. I'm too noisy, and will wake her up. So when can we get together and make some noise again? I'll see if I can find a babysitter for tomorrow evening. How will we solve the noise issue when we get married? A shocked expression appeared on her face. Shall we get married? We've only known each other for 2 weeks, Rob. We know nothing at all about each other. I didn't say it would be next week, but I'm putting it in perspective. So why don't we take a look at what we know? We seem to enjoy spending time with each other. I'd rather be with you than any other girl I've dated. There is something about me that attracted you so much that you were afraid that I would not call you. And according to you, just from my conversation with you, you become wet. Add to this the fact that we are simply incredible in bed, but more important than our sexual compatibility is something that cannot be overlooked. What exactly? Your daughter likes me. Are you serious? Are you really thinking about marriage? Yes. I do not know what to say. I didn't think that far ahead. You need to start thinking about it because I actually plan on asking in the not-too-distant future. I already know enough about you, but I understand that you need a little time to learn more about me. I stood up, she walked me to the door, and after a rather heated goodnight kiss, I said, "On Sunday, the parts stores don't open until 9, so I'll be here around 8. I'll take you and Mel to breakfast, and then we'll go get the water pump and take care of your pony." I was at her door at 5 minutes to 8, and we headed to the Village Inn for breakfast. We were at AutoZone at 9, picking up the water pump and some other parts. I played it safe and ordered the pump immediately after speaking with Monica on Saturday to make sure it was in stock. As for other details, I have learned from my own experience that when replacing a water pump, all belts should be replaced. We went to the station and changed the pump while Monica read and Melanie repeated that she was going to help me. I let her hold the wrenches for me and pretended it was a very important job. When I was done, we drove back to AutoZone so I could get reimbursed for the replacement part and then asked the girls what they wanted to do next. On the way to the gas station, we passed by a park and Melanie saw children playing on the swings and slides, which meant she wanted to go there. While I was pushing Melanie on the swing, Monica was using her phone, trying to find a babysitter for the night. We were lucky, and she found one. We went to McDonald's to get dinner early, and then I took the girls home. The nanny showed up, and as soon as we left her apartment, Monica said, "Don't make a fool of me, and don't ask where I want to go." If you don't yet know the answer to this question, then you need professional help. We had to finish at 9:45 because the nanny couldn't stay until 10. As I walked Monica home, I asked her when we could meet again. "I don't know, Rob. Fall leagues start next week, and I've already committed to playing in 2 leagues, so Tuesday and Friday will be busy. I decided to give up one of the mixed leagues this year. What night are you bowling? It was supposed to be Wednesday, but I might give that up. If I play on Wednesday, then the week we will only have Monday and Thursday, and I want more. In fact, you won't have those days, at least not for making love. We could see each other, but not have sex. Why? Because I can't afford to pay the nanny more than for Tuesday and Friday, and maybe one more night. You don't have to pay a babysitter to go bowling. Mel can stay with me. This will free up your babysitter money for other nights, and I'll pay for any babysitter for the weekend. There are other problems, Rob. There are evenings when I have to work late. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And what? I can look after meals when that happens. The main thing, at least for me, is that I spend as much time as possible with you,